Hi, good evening, everybody, and welcome to yet another edition of InsightView series of the Advertising Club of Madras. My name is Anbit Cherian, and a warm welcome to one and all who are logged in from across various your place of work, your homes, your colleges, etc. And I'm sure you will not be disappointed today because the speaker we have with us today is one such person, a person who's an expert across media, who has led top brands in the country. And I'm sure whatever is going to talk today is going to add a lot of value in our professions and in our daily lives, and there will be a lot of takeaways for all of us. So, very warm welcome, Shripad. Thank you for doing this, and I'm sure all of us are going to be benefited out of it. And especially, there's a large student community out here, who's also tuned in to listen to you. And I'm sure, it's going to add a lot of value in their careers as they progress. So, once again, a warm welcome, and I hand it over to Umanath, the treasurer of the Art Club of Madras, to introduce Shripad. Thank you.
Thank you, Anbu. Good evening to Onadal and myself, Umanath. I'm the managing editor of Media News for You and also the treasurer of Advertising Club Madras. And I take pleasure in introducing you to Shripad Kulkarni, a veteran in the media side of the advertising, and he's today going to present us on how to build omni-channel campaigns. That is precisely building omni-channel campaigns in today's complex world of media. Of course, gone are the days of traditional media. So, to holistically address the need of the brands, establishing connecting connections with the consumers, omni-channel approach is the new mantra, and everywhere brands, marketeers, advertisers are all scrambling for cracking this mantra. So we are all fortunate enough to hear it from the veteran Shripad Kulkarni. He has 30 years of experience in marcom and media, and he has served as the CEO for Vizeum, the media agency owned by Dentsu, and also Percept Media, which he set up from the scratch. As he often repeats, he has seen the media and marcom journey from the days when he was armed with the JWT T Plan and a scientific calculator using AI to build a good starting draft of a full-fledged marcom plan. So he has worked across categories in various life stages, from legacy brands like Fevicol, Asian Paints, HUL, and BMW to launching challenger brands like Fortune Foods, S Bank, and digital first brands like Airbnb, Shopclues, Capressi. He is an independent marcom and media advisor. He also runs a very ambitious startup in the women's health sector, Ready to Be Mom. So here is Shripad Kulkarni will be presenting on building omni-channel campaigns. I hope it will be a wonderful session. Over to you, Shripad.
Okay, thank you, Anbu, and thank you, Manat, for that introduction. So we are going to now go through, I have put a framework in terms of building an omni-channel campaign with the starting point of an idea. That's the whole way how I have looked at it. So there are four things that we look at. Firstly, we will just look at everything about omni-channel campaigns. What is it? What do you mean by omni-channel? How do we approach campaigns? Then there is a framework, a simple framework that I have proposed. And then we look at two case studies. Both are very big case studies. The first one is the Airtel 5G launch. And the second one is the Cadbury festive use case, which is this year's case study. So the first thing is, if you look at the future of marketing, then what Kotler has gone on record famously saying that it depends mostly on various things, but how do you dominate channel positions and innovate continuously? That's what he has said. The second thing he's saying is that buyers will increasingly be able to select the best brands while relying less on advertising and salespeople. Mind you, he's saying less on advertising and salespeople. One thing that we all know is that, and this is from a McKinsey study, where more than half of customers engage with 3 to 5 channels. Now, these are not obviously same across everybody, but across the myriad of channels, everybody selects 3 to 5 during each journey that they take for any purchase. So we all use multiple channels, right? So if we look at the modern man's shopper journey, then it starts from an ad for jean, going to the store, then there probably somebody helps you do it, and then you see a shirt there, and then you scan it and see what is there, and then the size you want to check whether it is there or not, and then you also receive an email, and then you could be upsold, cross sell, there is a post purchase, and so on and so forth. A very simple classical way, but what we don't realize is that there are all these channels that we are using, and each of these have a clear effect. Either you will be satisfied, or you will be buying something more, or you'll be dissatisfied, or whatever. So next we come to what is really omni-channel marketing. Now, the first thing that we have to remember is that it is sales and marketing. The approach necessarily also involves sales, as advertising professionals, and with the olden days, one was not so much directly involved into sales. Why? For that matter, today, even marketing has a sales objective. All the digital leads, all the marketing generated leads is what is a sales related objective that is there. So we want, so it's firstly sales and marketing approach designed to get a seamless and consistent customer experience across various touch points. That's what we mean by omni-channel marketing. And what do we need to do? We need to design an exceptional omni-channel experience. Now, mind you, we had said some time back, there are lots and lots of channels, and everybody uses any 5, 4, 5 at their disposal, or whatever one is predisposed towards. So what one needs to do is design an exceptional experience for the majority of customers, and focusing on 2 or 3 out of these customer journey, because as you can well imagine, there are lots and lots of customer journeys. We'll see very shortly how it can get into very complex chart of sorts. So we have to pick up 2 or 3 most important journeys, which cover about 80% of your audience. So that brings me to the framework. What is the framework that I'm talking about, and how does this framework work? So typically, when you are planning an omni-channel campaign, you first have some kind of an what I have called an idea statement. I will just elaborate the idea statement bit a little later. What we mean by an idea statement is write down the agreed idea statement, agreed amongst the client, amongst the planning people, amongst the creative people, everybody. There should be an agreement on what is the idea statement for a specific campaign. Now, at times that idea is very big, and it can be something that can be carried through across campaign, across years, and so on and so forth. But for the purpose of this current discussion, we look at the campaign idea. Then the next step is study the customer journey. and identify 3 or 4 key channels on that journey which are appropriate. And then you recreate the experience where you render the idea. Remember, we start with an idea, render the idea for each channel. Now, ground event will have a different implication. If you want to do a special offer, it will have a different implication. You want to do influencer marketing, you will render it differently. You want to do performance marketing, you will render it differently. So for each of the channels, you render the idea differently. That's what. So remember these 3 steps: idea statement, then focus on the customer journey, and recreate the experience. So I have tried to make it very, very simple. So to start with, what is an idea? You remember we said the idea statement. So either we call it an idea platform or platform idea, some such thing we call it. So the idea is not an execution like, let's say, a TV campaign. It does not necessarily live in one particular medium. It informs every other medium. It informs the way a brand behaves and speaks to its customers and its market. That's what this podcaster called Jason Bagley has said. It's a belief, it's a philosophy, it's what the brand stands for. And finally, it's a set of words they can use to talk about where the brand stands on anything. You take any specific element of marketing or any specific issue, then what is the brand's view? What does the brand want to stand for? What does the brand want to say? Then that platform will help us. Now, Julian Cole is one person who heads the strategy finishing school, and he's a very, very crisp, sharp person. So I quite like how he approaches things. So he is quite practical. He says getting to the idea statement for brand is tough, often contains heated discussions, lot of confusion. What is the idea? What is the element? Is it a tactic? All that kind of stuff. And what he says is the best way to get to an idea statement is to have 2 or 3 proof of concepts, or 2 or 3 creatives, or 2 or 3 ideas, and find what is the thread between them. So what we are saying is the talking of the idea statement is nothing but few critical words which give you an idea of what is the brand going to stand for, and which informs, in a sense, what you will do in each of the media. So it's a bigger statement. Now, we all know the customer journey. I'm sure all of you would have seen lots and lots of ways of looking at customer journey. But it's a very, very critical part when you are doing any kind of channel planning in today's day and age. You have to do a lot of work, a lot of research, and look at the customer journey. Like we said some time back, there are many journeys. You have to pick up 2 or 3 big ones, and then based on those, you create an omni-channel experience. So the first one, very quickly, I'll run through this. The first one is where there is a need. Sometimes the need is latent. Sometimes the customer has a need. Orientation is where the person is now ready and saying, okay, now I will start looking around, I will start buying, I'll buy now, I'll buy the car in the next 2 months, we'll buy a refrigerator then, or now I right now want I am running out of eggs, so call Zepto and get eggs. So that is the time when the actual process starts. Then there is consideration, where there is a closer look, shortlist, check around, decision, and then there is the last part is the loyalty, which is also recommending, sharing, repeat buying, and so on and so forth. Now, suffice it to say that you can jump from anywhere to anywhere. It is nowhere linear. It is never sequential, never linear. You go from digital to physical to friends to all kinds of things you will get into when you are doing this. So you could jump stages. You could go straight from consideration, from there to decision. All kinds of things can happen. So it's a fairly kind of a complex map of sorts. But it helps to crystallize and put down what are the key stages for your brand. Now, once this is done, then we plot all channels along the customer journey, right? Now, firstly, let me go back. Firstly, when you do this, you have to also assess that with that idea that you have, or the campaign that you have, or the brief that you have, which part or parts of the journey you want to focus on of these entire range. We will come back to it when we see a few case studies. And then what I have tried to do is I have tried to plot all channels along the customer journey for one way or one rule, or the most common role. This is not at all sacrosanct. It's not that, you articles and blogs will have a role only in consideration. It's not that, but broadly speaking, this is how it flows, right? So if you look at a need, then what it says is video ads, reels, influencers can help there, moment marketing helps there. Then you have print, out of home, video as in television works there, so on and so forth. Then when you come to decision making, the retail media helps. As we all know, Amazon is a retail media now. You search directly on Amazon. You may not go on Google. So then the retail media, like Flipkart, Amazon, and of course your Zeptos of this world are called retail media. So this is the entire plotting of most of the media and channels that you may need to look at, right? So remember what we had said first is you first write down your idea statement. Okay, so suppose we have put down what is the idea statement. We'll look at a couple of case studies later on and see what it means. Next, you look at the customer journey and see which part of the customer journey you want to focus on, and then look at these various channels that are there at your disposal. Which of these you really want to explore and render your idea for the campaign. Now, for a moment, let's look at the buying of a car, just to elaborate the whole thing. So there are broadly two parts, because what you need to do is you need to plot the journey for your category and also for your brand. So if one is buying a car, then the top part is visiting dealership, and the bottom part is the digital or multi-channel retail during vehicle purchase and after purchase. So as you can see, there are many things that are happening here. People are going from one to the other. People might be predominantly prefer a digital showroom for the entire experience in pre-purchase testing. There are 38% people who prefer that as per one study. Why? Even if you look at the aftermarket, then about 49% people want all connected car features. All connected car features, right? That are there. So now that means that there are so many different touch points available for you. And as you can see, for a car, they are very, very different touch points. So you need to really plot the journey relevant for your category. So now what we will do is we will look at the one case study, and there we will figure out, assess how the omni-channel campaign has been done. Remember, the first part is the idea. What is the idea statement? The second is look at the journey, see what part of the journey is relevant and important. Identify which of the channels along that journey are important for you. And third is then render that idea, transform the idea, which is of course creative people have to do that. Transform the idea relevant for that medium. So we'll now look at the Airtel 5G case study. Now, I'm sure all of you remember the Kapil Dev not out 175. Yes, right? And you also must be remembering how Airtel, for their 5G launch, they used and they recreated that 175 not out. And then they gave that experience to the entire country using Airtel 5G, demonstrating that 5G is what gives you speed and high tech and so on and so forth. So what was the platform idea here? We'll not play that platform idea video because I'm sure everybody has seen that overall. What I have worded it as: bring alive special moments as a magnum opus using Airtel 5G technology. And what did they do? They used 38 of India's top influencers. Just look at the list, and if it's an Airtel 5G launch, then you need this level of weight and momentum for the entire campaign. So they have tech wizards, they have sports wizards, they have all kinds of people that they use as influencers. And what did they do? They kicked off the event with Airtel officially announcing the launch of Airtel 5G Plus as a grand reveal. And through the evening, the influencers, they kept the audience hooked. All kinds of things they did. They had some cash stashed in some hotels, and then these celebrities go there and say, there is cash here. Is this about cash? What is it about? So there was a lot of anxiety in terms of what is it. And actually, then when it was revealed, it was Kapil Dev, and they were going to help everybody with the help of 5G, using the technology, actually experience and see that 175 not out. And every creator, these 38 influencers they shared on their entire Instagram stories using Glambot shot, which is high-speed slow motion camera shots of how the entire thing happened. And then they further created some use cases of using 5G to showcase speed, technology, and environment in their stories overall. So this, like I said, I'm not looking to show the video because I'm sure a lot of you would have seen the video. But this is how they took a big idea. And if it were, for example, bring alive special moments as a magnum opus using Airtel 5G, then they looked at how it can be made big, bringing alive Kapil Dev's 175 and using influencers and using in a huge way the social media that these influencers have, and then they multiplied various other media. Now, remember we said we look at the idea, how it pans across on the customer journey. Now, I personally felt that the idea was very big. It is still very big. And they shouldn't have used it only a launch idea. They can keep on doing this, using this idea and not let that idea go. So I'm saying they had this idea. They created one huge mega event, added influencer channel to it, influencer marketing to it, added big time social media to it, and created a lot of content. They created blogs, they created short videos, all kinds of things on it. But they just stopped at that big idea. They could have created many more such special live events, and that can be a continuing campaign, in fact, for Airtel. We look at the Cadbury festive case study, Cadbury festive use case. Now, just to give you go to a little bit into history, Cadbury thought, I think this must have been some 15 years back, is when they got a brainwave, their strategy team, saying, can we make Cadbury something that you can give instead of mithai during festivals? Now, just imagine that such a big task, such a huge, shift. And this happened over 5 years. They struggled. They had various strategies. In fact, I had done a podcast with Anil Viswanathan, who was pretty much there at that time. And you can have a look at that. It will be available somewhere. So what they did is they said, we must pick up actionable moments. So what they figured out is better to ride on current behavior, and that is easier than getting people to switch. Now, some of you might remember it was a campaign called Pappu Pass Ho Gaya. And then they had Pappu promote ho gaya, Pappu Pass ho gaya, and then he was gifting Cadbury. Didn't work. So what they said is, okay, start with Valentine's, chocolates are being gifted. Let's make that big and shift to Rakhi. So Rakhi, there is a tradition of gifting. So, riding on that behavior, they first looked at Rakhi. And this actionable moment worked for them. Then they did regionalization, this is sweet Odu Konadu, Tamil become very big.
Sweet Edu Kondadu.
Kondadu, yeah, Kondadu. Umanath. In fact, Umanath was one of the co-hosts when we did that podcast. Now, this worked. However, Mishti Mitho didn't work. So what did they do? They went into a partnership with shop chains in Kolkata to promote chocolate. So just imagine what channel they used. They went into an existing retail channel and they introduced chocolate flavor to make sure that chocolate flavor is first accepted in mithais, and then they, on top of that, they rode the chocolate bandwagon. And Diwali is where it was a big thing, where they wanted to switch behavior. And here they found that emotion worked better. Like Anil Vishwanathan said, chocolate is democratic. Because, in Diwali, if I'm from, let's say, Maharashtra, I don't know what exactly happens for Diwali in Bihar. I don't know what would happen for Diwali in Kerala. But chocolate is safe. Anybody can give chocolate. It is acceptable. And then they had this global strategy of generosity. And they didn't find any word for it. So they just switched it to kuch acha ho jaye, kuch meetha ho jaye. Now, so this is the whole story. I just want to give you the background of their festive campaign, where they want to place, remember, chocolates in the mithai box. So we'll go through the campaign that they released this year, right? So, Vaishnavi, can you just play the first main campaign? I'll stop sharing.
Yes, sir.
यार कमर टूट गई है।
क्या जरूरत थी सबके घर जाके विश करने की? विश तो मैसेज पे भी कर सकते थे ना।
हाँ, वो दिया वाले इमोजी के साथ। देखो, टेक्नोलॉजी इतनी भी एडवांस नहीं हुई है कि मैसेज पे हम मुंह मीठा कर पाए। अगर होगी भी, तब की तब देखेंगे।
तू मिले तो है कहना, तू मिलते ही रहना, मिलने से मीठा हो जाए प्यार, नमसी।
मैसेज पे मुंह मीठा नहीं होता। कैडबरी सेलिब्रेशंस, कुछ अच्छा हो जाए, कुछ मीठा हो जाए।
So let me go back to. So what I have put as an idea statement is encourage in-person celebrations during all festivals for every Indian in a responsible way. In a responsible way, because remember I told you they had the global mandate, of kuch acha ho jaye overall. So I put this as a kind of idea platform. Now just look at how they have converted the idea platform into an activation idea, into a digital idea, into a content idea. So if you can share the next video, please.
मैंने सोचा था दिवाली इस बार फैमिली के साथ मनाऊं, पर टिकट कंफर्म भी नहीं हो रही।
इस दिवाली आई डोंट थिंक मैं घर जा रही हूँ।
दिवाली पे लोग अपनों से मिलना तो चाहते हैं, पर मिलने जा नहीं पाते।
मम्मी ने कितनी तैयारियां करके रखी होंगी, पता नहीं कैसे जाऊंगा।
क्योंकि ट्रेन की बुकिंग पे इनको मिलता है सिर्फ वेटलिस्ट नंबर, और जब ऐसे में घर से दूर हूँ तो दिवाली नहीं लगती, वो त्योहार वाली फीलिंग नहीं आती। इस दिवाली IRCTC और कैडबरी सेलिब्रेशंस मिलकर कुछ लकी लोगों को कंफर्म्ड सीट के साथ उनके घर लेकर जा रहा है। बस पैक स्कैन करो, डिपार्चर और अराइवल लोकेशन डालो और ये बताओ कि आप किसका मुंह मीठा करने जा रहे हो।
मेरी मम्मी को जो सरप्राइज करूंगा ना तब वो रो पड़ने वाली है।
मुझे तो अभी भी यकीन नहीं हो रहा है कि मुझे कंफर्म टिकट मिल गई है।
त्योहार की खुशी वीडियो कॉल या मैसेज पे नहीं, सिर्फ गले मिलके ही होती है। अब उन सब की दिवाली मीठी होगी जो अपनों को मिलकर मुंह मीठा करेंगे।
So, what did they do here? They took that idea, the framing of the idea statement we have, into a phygital campaign. It had a physical element, it had a digital element, and it had a promotion all fused into one activity, right? So this is how they took that idea and rendered into something relevant. And it's not easy to get to think of an idea like IRCTC. It's not at all easy to execute something like this, you know. So a lot of people must have worked on it. They must have thought of the concept. They must have gone to IRCTC. They must have said something else. Then it must have gone back and forth, and they must have then come to an idea. And so this is how you can render the idea into the insight that a lot of people go home for Diwali and they go to meet their near and dear ones, you know, and which is why we are encouraging in-person celebrations. So the in-person celebration that they are talking about is actual in-person celebration people do for Diwali. Now let's just look at a kind of a critique of this idea. Now just look at what all they had. They have assorted for 133, they have rich dry fruits, they have personalized with photo on the chocolate, they have personalized message, and they have a personalized photo frame. So here's what I thought. I thought they could have easily have added one more idea around that, using one of the products that they have, using the product itself as a channel. You know what I'm saying? Using the product as a channel. Because look at what they have. This is amazing. And the whole campaign, the way it is, doesn't really address the product correctly, right? And one other thing is that this category is, it's not, nobody thinks when you are buying a gift so much, you know. It's a very quick decision. There is no consideration, there is orientation is already there. And it's like when they are considering something, you have to get into their consideration set. Why? When people are buying on retail media, when people are searching for gifts on Amazon, Flipkart, Zepto, everywhere, that's where they could have thought of some extension of this idea. So I just thought that if you were to study the customer journey of picking up, buying something for gifting for festive season, it's like, you know, it's in the end of the consideration decision phase. And there are lots of channels that they could have used, and they could have really amplified and made this idea bigger, wider, and made it sales oriented as an appropriate for multi-channel. So that's what is my assessment of how I would assess what they are doing. So I hope what I have said is clear. So I'll just sum up what I am saying. First, what I said is consumers will depend less on ads and salespeople. That's what Kotler had said. And brands will have to dominate channels. Second thing that I had said was every consumer uses a minimum of 3 to 5 channels out of the multiple myriad to buy anything. Nobody uses only one channel. Then omni-channel marketing is about sales as well. It is not only advertising. It is not only so-called marketing, which does not directly involve sales. It's rooted in sales. Third thing is omni-channel campaign is about exceptional experience for majority of customers by focusing on 2 or 3 of that. Remember, we had that all kinds of mess of customer journey, everybody going wherever. So 2 or 3 most important journeys you pick up, and then see where you can get majority of your customers. And then the framework, which is the key point of what I had to say, just in very short, simple terms, is looking at a specimen of idea, a concept of the idea, a sketch of an idea. Write down the idea statement. When you write down the idea statement, 3 or 4 big keywords, then that gives you a springboard to think of what kind of channels you can use, or what kind of a new channel you can create, in a sense. So then you study the customer journey and identify 3 or 4. Firstly, you look at which part of the journey is important for you to address. Second, which part of journey that specific idea of the campaign is addressing, and accordingly look at 3 or 4 key channels relevant for that. And the last one, of course, is render the idea for those channels completely. Like we just saw, somebody must have thought that how do we help people who are going home, and then somebody must have come with the idea, here our city is biggest, people go back home, they are going by train only, so what can we do? Someone must approach them, check with them, we want to do joint offer, then executed it. And that was the whole big idea, which is a phygital idea, as a new thing that they must have thought of. So that's what I had to say today, friends. So if we have any questions, then I'll be sure happy to answer. You are on mute, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Shripad. Thank you so much for that excellent framework. And I think it's one simple framework for all of us to follow when we start thinking of ideas and trying to execute them. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to raise your hands, or just switch on your video and you can ask your questions to Shripad. So on a lighter vein, Shripad, the Cadbury also offer the return tickets?
No, I don't think they really offered it. It was just reservations. But when you are booking, if you are booking a return ticket, as many do, then they would have had to give some benefit, I'm sure, because they just gave a prior allotment. That's all they did.
Okay. Looking at it a little critically, an idea, this requires a scale, right? It can't be run in just one geography. And a brand like Cadbury should have offered this on a larger scale across, various states. But I don't know whether it happened or it was just confined to a certain geographical location.
So I'm sure that you need, this. You can't finally offer like lots and lots of tickets. You can offer only few tickets overall. They didn't restrict to any areas, to the best of my knowledge.
Okay.
So, Mr. Murali Krishnan,
Murali Krishnan, can you just switch on your video and ask your question, please? Yeah, thank you.
You're on mute, huh?
You're on mute, I think.
He's not.
Check, check. Do audio check, please. Indra, unmuted him?
Yes, sir.
He is
Not in mute.
he's unmuted.
Or else you can text.
Yeah,
The
otherwise
chat
maybe
window.
you can write in the chat if there's some. Maybe he'll.
Murli, you can write in the chat window because you're not audible. You're on mute.
Now you unmute, please. Now you are free.
No, we still can't hear you. Maybe you'll need to write in the chat.
Can't hear you, sir.
Some problem with your mic. You can chat it, chat window, please. You can text it.
Indra, can you just type, asking him to type in chat window?
Yes, sir.
In the meantime, anybody else has got any question, please feel free, switch on your video and just introduce yourself and you can ask Shripad the question.
Sir, am I audible now? Can I?
Yeah, you can go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry for that. First
No
of all,
worries.
a very good evening. And Shripad sir, it was an awesome and excellent presentation. I've learned a lot. My question is, I need a clarification as to position. In the industry, I hear communication platform as a services and omnichannel platform as a service. So what is the thin difference between how to position myself? Because I'm also a marketing guy, a field sales guy. When customer asks the specific question, okay, I need to give one-liner answer. What would be the catchy differentiation?
Okay, can you just repeat the differentiation between what you said?
CPaaS and OPaaS, communication platform and as a service, and omnichannel platform as a service.
I don't think firstly neither is a service actually, if you ask me. Because the way I have looked at it is, once you have got a communication strategy laid down, you have got your positioning laid down, and you have a campaign idea. Okay, so it is communication strategy and then campaign idea. I am looking at campaign idea into omni-channel execution overall. So this is nowhere near communication. I am not getting into any conceptual, kind of fight into anything. All I am saying is, once you have an idea for a campaign, you need to step back and take a fresh look at how that idea must be rendered into which media for giving the core audiences a perfect omni-channel experience. That's where I am. So I'm actually at the last leg of execution is where I'm focusing on.
Okay, got it, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, Murli. Anybody else? There's a lot of students out here in the audience. Would you like to ask any questions to Mr. Shripad? Please feel free to do so.
There is Parvati Sankarnar and whoever.
Hello, sir. Hi.
Parvati
Am I audible? My camera is on. For some reason, it's not showing
please
up.
go ahead. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much for that session. I think it was rather illuminating. I have a question, on the part you mentioned about customer journeys, which I found very compelling. Are there any just trying to understand if there are, any guardrails in which you can make those choices in terms of, how do you pick which channels are actually going to work best, in the context of what your brand is trying to achieve, in the course of that journey. How do you make that decision? Like you pointed out, which I thought was rather sharp in terms of how in the Cadbury's campaign that missed out on, the product mix that they delivered, the lack of focus on online marketing, sales channels and so on. So how do you make those decisions? Are there any guardrails that we can fall back on?
Actually, there aren't any definitive guardrails, but if you spend enough time immersing in the brand, if you spend enough time, whether as a media house, whether as a agency which is pitching for the brand, or as a student who is studying that, I think when you immerse into the brand and ask a few questions, there are some very classical questions. The first question is that if the ad were a person, what will the person say? The second is that for that specific category, which of the stages are important, going by your experience or talking to a few people who have recently bought into the category? So if you talk to one or two people who have bought into a car category, you will know exactly what they have gone through. And it is just living that person for a moment. And you will get some ready customer journeys, like I showed you the journey for car. So you'll find some ready journeys which are available, done by a lot of people. Once you take that, it gives an idea of where exactly you have a problem or an opportunity along the customer journey. And if you really study the campaign well, then I think, and if you talk to the person who has created the campaign, I think it is very easy to understand where that campaign is positioned along the customer journey. It's not at all very difficult. It's just to do with brand immersion overall. And then in terms of what are the channels to choose apart from the numbers that you have for the channels, broadly I laid down along the journey which are the channels that generally work as a starting point. Then the listing is what you can keep in front of you as an inspiration, and then you will know what channels seem to be fine. And more often than not, combining two channels into one idea is something that you should consciously explore overall.
Okay.
And then these small nuggets help, but there isn't any any other process or so. This is kind of just guardrails.
Right. Great.
Thank you.
That helped. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Parvati. Shripa, there's one question from Shruti from Government Arts College, Trichy. And her question is, how do you develop a compelling, unique selling proposition? And what is the role of email marketing in ad campaigns?
Yeah. So developing a compelling USP is like, a whole different, I would call it science and art. Broadly speaking, what you need to do is you need to understand your brand strengths versus competitive strengths in the first place, and align them to what are the critical success factors for the users. So first, what are the critical success factors for users? Then what is your plus and minus on that? And third is what is the competition along that? And the last one, of course, is how are you going to make a difference in people's lives, in the customers' lives? How are you going to make their life easier, their decision making easier, help them in various ways? And what do you stand for? Who are you for them? That's, I've tried to simplify it too much. It's not that simple, but broadly that is the process that you can follow. But I would still say the T Plan of J. Walter Thompson is an excellent document, even in today's day and age, which is relevant to take you through the steps required for creating USP and campaigns. You should study that. It's very simple. It's available easily on the net. I'll repeat. T Plan of G. Walter Thompson, which must be, God, how many years old now? 40 years old or more, 60 years old or 70 years old. No,
Yeah, that's one absolutely fantastic document, and I think most of the students who aspire to be in advertising marketing should get hold of the T Plan. Basically, looks at asking three simple questions, but the answers for which is very, very tough. Where are we? Where do we want to be? And how do we get there? So that framework, it can't get more simpler than this. So as Shripad said, I would urge everyone to, it's available easily. You can just Google it, and it's called the JWT's T Plan.
Yeah, and it is enough material for you to
Correct.
start thinking also. Enough triggers.
Any more questions, please? Shripad, I'll possibly ask one question because I always ask this question to senior, especially media people, and I can't resist myself from asking you as well.
Sure.
I know this whole business of advertising has changed, but I think the starting point happened when from a full service agency model, this business was broken down into creative agency and media agency. But do you think, this is one of the best decisions that could have happened, or it's one of the worst, stupidest decisions which happened to this industry?
I would say it was inevitable.
Okay.
And what I am saying is, today, if you see, the brand managers have to deal with, God, 3 or 4 digital partners.
Absolutely.
3 or 4 digital partners. So it's becoming crazier, by the way. And in a sense, it is inevitable because there just aren't people who are good at everything. That is the main point, which is why it's here. And I don't see it stopping. It's going to go even more chaotic. Is the way I would answer it. Good, bad, right, wrong, as they say, F knows. But it is inevitable. That had to happen, and it will further become chaotic.
Okay. I think we all thrive in chaos. Thank you. Thank you so much, Shripad. Any more questions, please, before I hand it over to Umanath for a vote of thanks? Okay, Uma, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Anbu. Sir, I also, you have articulated it so very well that it is inevitable. So, in the age of AI, do you see, where do you see this agency model heading towards?
See, what I'm seeing today is a lot of digital first companies have moved to producing a lot of day-to-day content in-house. Okay, because they just felt that they were not able to get what they wanted at the speed with which they wanted, and a lot of them have moved see, wherever the stakes are high and where they want to send, like every day they want to send some posts, the creation of social media is in-house. So they have a base level creative team in-house. The agencies, to my mind, will remain, Uma, because there will be a lot of work that the client cannot do. They will never be able to do. They will need 1 or 2 or more partners. Where AI is taking us is, see, if in every task, more so in non-standard, I'm calling it, non-scientific, I'm calling it. By standard, I mean, you can't write a program to create a final ad. No, you cannot. In all such areas, you have a lot of information that you need to process. You have a lot of options that you need to evaluate. And with this whole thing of at least 5 big digital channels that you have to evaluate, they are all distinct, whichever way anybody can define those 5 channels in your own way. And each there is something happening. So the whole thing of from the time you start thinking till you deliver the final creative product and the media product, that process is what AI is going to improve in terms of efficiency, according to me. So it's like if one was evaluating, let's say, 5 scenarios, because of AI, we will evaluate 1,000 scenarios given in specific conditions. Then we'll get some shortlists. So a lot of rote work, a lot of data work, a lot of possibilities, a lot of projecting, and it's like this, that when we moved from a diary to a meter, there was a dramatic shift in terms of what we could measure, right? So imagine that happening every 3 months. Then the whole premise is changing, the whole possibilities is changing, the whole evaluation metric is changing. So more things will be done in a shorter period overall, and the last part still people will have to improve. But then the gun is on our heads, saying you better deliver value beyond what I can get from an AI, otherwise agency is fired.
You need to constantly improve because there is an aspect called ML which learns what you do. So AI is not static, it evolves with machine learning. So what you are good at, the machine will learn tomorrow. The day after tomorrow, you need to better the AI, which is constantly learning from the human. So run, baby, run.
Yes, run, baby, run. And if you are rooted in basics and fundamentals and audiences and how they think and what they do, then you'll have a critical role to play always, I'm sure.
Great, sir. So, with that, I'm into vote of thanks. So, thanks for this wonderful session. So, which is a very important session too, because building omni-channel campaigns is the challenges that marketers, advertisers, and brand owners today facing huge challenge. So, cracking that is what everyone's day-to-day problem solving. So, and we also have challenges like measuring the ROI, and how these omni channels are being measured. You don't have a currency like the television or the print, which is delivering. That is another challenge. So, which is putting us, you need to subscribe 10 such digital services, then you need to subscribe 10 such measurements, and it is not ending. It's never ending. It keeps going on and on and on. And lack of coordination between the platform owners and the data owners, it's also putting us in huge challenge that there is no consensus. So the uniform measurement, which is recently implemented in Singapore, it's a market like India. It's a huge market like India. It is very essential, but we don't know when it will happen.
It's also very difficult, no? For example, if you have to see the Ormax study on OTT segments, there are 5 different segments for OTT, man. 5 different for OTT. Can you imagine that? And so where does it take you? It is still not connected TV, only OTT. there are five distinct different segments, buckets, audience buckets. So it's quite a task.
Like television, in OTT also we started witnessing devotional OTTs and comedy OTTs and regional, so many, so on and so forth. So it's constantly evolving before the marketers could crack it and
Yes.
chase it. So it is a challenge, never ending. So
Yeah.
leave it to that. And thanks for you took us through the omni-channel approach. What is omni-channel marketing and the approach, how to design an omni-channel marketing market plan and framework of omni-channel campaigns, and then customer journey and how to bring in omni-channel aspect into the customer journey and all that. And you also gave us some wonderful use case or case studies of the Airtel 5G, where how they used 38 top influencers of India across India and amplified the big idea. And then the wonderful example of the Cadbury from democratizing the chocolates. So sweet edu kondadu is even now today a name that we use whenever beyond Cadbury, that name has become. So kuch acha ho jaye, kuch meeta ho jaye is something which is popular in Hindi, but in Tamil Nadu also a sweet edu kondadu campaign is still reflected. So whenever we want to celebrate, we still use that word as a household a keyword. So that's how it impacted on even the regional market. So I could see that. So needless to mention how it would have created wonders in the Hindi heartland. So Cadbury is one example. The lovely relationship between O&M and Ogilvy and the Mondelez, the brand owner. So that's a wonderful case we all see. So thanks much for taking us through this. And we at Advertising Club Madras feel happy about presenting another wonderful session and a unique session today. We brought in a veteran from the landscape of media advertising who has run through with 3 decades of experience. So we have taken you through another wonderful topic. We're hoping to engage you in another one session in a fortnight's time. Thank you, Shripad, and the team, Presto for the designing media news for the partnership, and Deep Sense and IIT for the digital promotions, and the team at Club Secretariat Chennai office, Indra Vaishnavi, for all the efforts. And looking forward to engaging you in another wonderful session. Shripad, all the best for you, and thanks much. With that, let's sign off. Cheers.
Thank you.
Happy weekend.
Thank you, Shripad.
Thank you.